Hey, Cardinals fans, do you hear that? Do you hear that? That right there is the fat lady tuning up on the Cardinals 2025 season after getting their butts handed to them and swept by the New York Yankees.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio, the podcast on X at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Come find us. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. So right now, things are not good. If you are a fan of the St. Louis Cardinals, which I am, which you are as well, because you're watching or listening to this podcast, things did not go well this weekend. And I'm sorry I wasn't around a whole lot this weekend. I had a whole lot of family stuff that was going on, not bad stuff, so nothing like that, but like just where we were just busy doing stuff, fun stuff for the most part. Not around to watch a whole lot of Cardinal baseball this weekend, so I apologize for not being able to tweet and stuff and do as much as we normally do online, but it doesn't sound like I missed all that much after going through everything and watching the replays. And boy, I tell you what, I don't know how many nails it takes to close a coffin, but man, oh man, does it feel like the last 5 games the Cardinals have played is the beginning of the end of this season. And many fans have already written them off for good reason, but diehard believers like myself, for better or worse, tend to have what others call false hope in situations like this, where people see the Cardinals are like, that's not a good baseball team. And then there's people like me who goes, that's not that bad of a baseball team. And I do it with all my teams. Okay. I'm a positive dude. I'm always, if this happens or that happens, this could happen, but I don't want to go through that right now. The Cardinals needed to sweep the Rockies. That's what I told you. They needed to win 2 of 3 against the Yankees. That's what I told you. And instead, they just crapped the bed and lost 5 in a row. End of dream. End of story. This team ain't going anywhere. Now, the 2 losses against the Rockies, we've talked about them. Unforgivable. Should never happen. Losing 4 of 6 to them, same way. Should never have happened. That's pathetic. This series against the Yankees, it makes you want to say, because these games would be close for a lot of the 3 games. The end score, especially in the final 2 games, isn't exactly accurate of how the games actually were going. I mean, there were some entertaining things going on in these games, and then things would get out of hand later on. But, these are the types of series against New York where you start throwing out the cliches, right? We've heard them all year long. We've been hearing them for 3 seasons in a row, to be honest with you. They showed a lot of heart. They showed a lot of grit. They're putting in the work. These guys don't quit. And that's great. And I'm glad they give a crap and that they care, because not all Major League Baseball players do. Like, you see the effort on the field from the Cardinals. They care. I'm glad they continue to put in the effort in the practice and the game planning and all of that stuff. Super cool. You know what's really cool, though? Winning baseball games. That's what's cool. That's the good stuff. And that's what we want to see. We just want to see you win the games. Win ball games. And they're not doing that. And it's very upsetting. And it's why a lot of us are very upset. It's why people aren't showing up at the ballpark. A major reason. I should say there's other things too. Let's start with Friday's game. Andre Pallante on the mound, and what has become an all too familiar scene in Cardinals games, the starting rotation gives up early runs to put the team in a hole that they got to work really, really hard to climb their way out of before even putting their batting gloves on. Mentally, it's got to be exhausting to always be climbing uphill. Always feels like you're behind with this rotation. And it's not usually just, 1 run. Pardon me, my phone is still on. I apologize for that in case you heard it. And it's not normally just 1 run It's usually 2, 3, 4, 5 that they have to make up. And that's a pretty big mountain to climb when your offense, as good as it was earlier on in the season, isn't doing that stuff anymore, at least not normally. They put up some runs in this series, though. It allows the other team to make different adjustments on how they're pitching you because they have a decent lead. So things change. The offense obviously will feel more pressure because now they're just counting down the outs that you have left to try to catch up, knowing you have to score this amount to even compete in the game. And, even when you get down and say it's 3-0, like it was in this one, there's no for certain that the pitching staff's going to hold that they're only going to score 3 in the game. I mean, they got to shut them down the rest of the way too. It just sucks. Playing from behind is a terrible way to play any sport. And the Cardinals have done it far too many times this year. And it happened in all 3 of these games. And it wasn't just Friday. It wasn't just Andre Pallante. It happened all 3 games. Friday, Pallante gives up 3 runs in the first, starting with a leadoff walk, which we know is basically giving a run to the other team. It just constantly comes around to score. Then Ben Barry Bonds Rice doubles. Aaron Judge gets a run in on a ground ball. But then with 2 outs, the big hit, the home run by Jazz Chisholm Jr. on a fastball. Just, hi, hit me. Just right there, a little bit inside, just perfect for a left-hander to smoke it over the right field wall. 3-0 Yankees. The homer at the time was the 25th allowed by the Cardinals in the first inning of the season, tied with the Rockies for the most in the National League at that point. Unacceptable. Pallante settles in a bit after that. Over the final 4 innings of his outing, he allows 1 more run. He strikes out 8 hitters in the game, but the damage was done. It was done. You already put him in a hole. Rob Raines had a great stat here over at STLSportspage.com. The 3 runs in the first inning off Pallante increased the total number of earned runs he has allowed in the first 2 innings this season to 30 in 47 2/3 innings. That's an ERA of 5.66. That's awful. Nothing fun about that. The Cardinals offense had trouble with the Yankees starter Luis Gil. Locked them up for 5 1/3 innings, allowed just 1 run on 4 hits. They end up making a game of it later on, getting 1 in the 6th and then 2 in the 7th, thanks to some big hits by Lars Nootbaar, Mason Wynn, and Victor Scott. The real issue in this game, and it's been a problem for most of the year, are the double plays. It's haunted this team. They hit into 4 of them in this game and are currently 7th in the league with 91 total double plays, 9 back of the A's, who have an even 100. A's are in first place. Congratulations on that. Not a stat you want to be up there in, right? Cardinals bullpen was really, really good in this one, but they couldn't overcome the 4-run deficit, the hole that they were put in. And they fall in this game by a score of 4-3. Great effort. You showed fight. Still, it's an L. It's a loss. And now if I told you in game 2 that the Cardinals would light up left-hander Max Fried, one of the big free agent signings this offseason. Everybody wanted him. Would light him up for 7 runs, and you get to have Sonny Gray on the mound. You'd think that would do the trick to get a win, right? Nope. We'll explain how this one got out of hand and get to game 3 as well, which had some late inning issues. So we'll get to all of those coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. This episode brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Now, preseason already heating up. College football not too far off, too. I'm getting excited about it. Perfect time to lock in your season-long more or less picks for the 2025 football season, and you can do it all before week 1 kicks off. Whether you've got your eye on, let's say, a big-name quarterback or breakout running backs, PrizePicks, they make it easy to get in the game. Now, preseason-wise, big in my household right now because my wife is a Cincinnati person. Bengals at Washington tonight. She's very excited. Passing yards, you've got Jaden Daniels, who is a superstar for Washington in year 1. He's at more or less 48.5 yards passing. Joe Burrow, more or less than 70.5. Jamar Chase, a lot of people's number one pick in fantasy football this year at more or less than 27.5. His partner in crime on the other side, T. Higgins at 20.5. These are things that you can earn rewards on when you use Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup, which you can do tonight. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Thanks for making Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X or TikTok anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. We will be doing some Cardinals confessions a couple of times this week because there's a lot of people got to get some stuff off their chest. Luckily enough, I have a platform here where I'm able to do it right to you. So I appreciate you coming in, whether it's on YouTube or listening wherever you listen to your podcasts. Very sweet of you. Appreciate you. I understand that this point of the season with the Cardinals, very frustrating. So we all just kind of want to growl and yell about everything, which is kind of what I'm trying to stay calm. Trying to stay calm after what happened this weekend. But game 2 was very, very frustrating. All right. 4-3 loss in game 1. All right. Game 2 is very frustrating because Max Fried, as I mentioned, one of the biggest signings this offseason, Yankees got him, which was huge for them after the injuries they've dealt with. Garrett Cole, Luis Gil, who just came back and pitched in that first game, but he'd been out all year. It was a good thing they got him, and he's been one of the best left-handers in baseball for a number of years now. So for the Cardinals, who we know they've had their struggles against lefties this year, although if you go look at the stats now, I'm currently hitting .249 against both lefties and righties. So everything has evened out now. They actually rank higher in batting average against lefties. They're 11th and as opposed to righties. Both .249, but righties .249 ranks 14th against lefties. It's 11th. So guess we can stop using that excuse. It's like, oh no, here comes another. No, it's just pitchers. They can't hit anybody. But for the Cardinals to light up Max Fried, 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 home runs in 5 innings of work. To have your number one on the mound in Sonny Gray, on the mound at home, where he's had a ton of success, and still lose is just a massive kick to the family jewels. Once again, Cardinals fall behind in the first inning. It's a reoccurring theme this weekend, as I pointed out. Yankees go single, walk, double, 1-0, 3 hitters in. Awesome. Then another single brings in another. It's 2-0 before they even get to grab the bats. But the offense, once again, we're like, all right, hold on. Let's get going. They fight back. Burley takes advantage of Jason Dominguez in left field, who's a terrible defensive outfielder. Ends up getting a triple. Ivan Herrera singles him in, leads cut in half. Awesome, right? Then they put up 4 in the bottom of the second inning against Max Fried, thanks to a leadoff walk by Gorman, which is great. Singles by Pages, Victor Scott, and then you get the Mason Wynn 3-run jack, which feels like a moment for Mason Wynn. And I talked about this in last week's last episode, where I was like, I want Mason Wynn to kind of get put on the map in this series. And this was a moment for him, right? 3-run jack, grabs the lead, 5-2. And you got Sonny on the mound. You trust him more than you trust any starter in your rotation. 3-run lead at home. This one should be in the bag. And instead, he just gets destroyed. It's torched for a solo home run by Aaron Judge, which you don't really frown about that because it's Aaron Judge. He's amazing. But then Ben Babe Ruth Rice goes yard against him in the 4th to make it 6-5. And the lead's gone. The thrill is gone. And the fans who did come out in the Busch Stadium are like jaws down on the ground. They're stunned. I was stunned. That's now 19 home runs, by the way, given up by Sonny Gray on the season, 2 off his career high, which he set last season at 21. How do you spell regression? Sonny goes just 5 innings, allows 6 runs on 9 hits, 2 dingers, 7 strikeouts, but he leaves trailing. blows a 3-run lead. Not what you wanted or needed from your top guy in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, especially after your offense pulled you back out of the deficit you put them in and gave you a nice cushion on top of that. Once again, it's just unacceptable. That can't happen. Then we get to the bullpen, and Cal Leahy, who had been really good recently, 7 games leading up to this game against the Yankees, ERA of 0.82. Had his worst appearance of the season. He's had a couple bad ones. Every reliever does. But bro never retires a batter in this one. He allows 4 straight hits, including a 3-run double by Ben friggin' Rice. And the game was blown open. Now it's 9-5. Cards trimmed it to 9-7 on a dinger by Gorman, which you love to see because you want to see progress. But then Rodri Munoz, who I think he just sucks, guys. I know he's got a nice arm, but I think he sucks. But has he done anything good? Comes in and wiped away any hope for a comeback again by giving up 3 more runs, including a home run to Ryan McMahon. RBI hits by Rice. Chisholm Jr. makes it 12-7. And we knew after the trade deadline that this bullpen would face some challenges. There are guys like Rodri Munoz who were going to have to eat some innings at some point. And you were hoping to get through having these kind of guys pitch without giving up much, in return. And it ain't working, man. It ain't working. That's why he's not on this roster again. He got sent back down on Sunday. But it was a bad all-around game for the Cardinals pitching staff in general, who got abused by the Yankees' top 3 hitters in the order. Trent Grisham goes 4 for 5. Rice goes bonkers. Home run, drives in 7 by himself on a 3 for 5 night. So much that he got supercharged on MLB The Show because his game was so huge. Apparently, he's done this already this year too, by the way, which I did not remember that. But Ben Rice drove in 7 against somebody else earlier this year too. So anyway, it always blows me away though when a guy's clearly on his A game and we just keep pitching to him. Anyway, Judge 2 for 3 with a home run. He's Aaron Judge. Another fun stat from Rod Brains at STLSportsPage.com. Rice became the 4th visiting player in Busch Stadium 3 history to drive in at least 7 runs. The others to do it were Yasiel Puig of the Dodgers in 2018. You're going to love these names. Marco Scutaro of the Giants in 2012. J.R. Towles of the Astros. Who? I don't know who that is. Drove in 8 runs in a game in 2007. How the hell that happened? Who the hell is J.R. Towles? At least the other 2, Puig and Scooter, I'd heard of. I don't even know who that is. But anyway, on top of the carnage in this particular game, the Cardinals also suffer another injury. They lose Victor Scott, who went to rob a ball in center field, came down on his ankle awkwardly. It was hobbling. We know Victor's game is all about speed, right? And when you can't walk or run, that's going to be a problem. So sprained ankle, had to leave the game, ended up going on the IL on Sunday. So now the team is without Brendan Donovan and Wilson Contreras, who are dealing with injuries, but the team refused to put them on the IL over the weekend, so they were shorthanded all weekend. Nolan Arenado, as we know, out, trying to get strength back in his shoulder down in Florida, and now Victor Scott also out. So not ideal. And to save face, you had to turn the ball over to Miles Michaelis on Sunday. Yeah. Who actually, Miles didn't pitch bad. He didn't pitch bad, but we had more late inning issues, which ruined this game for the Cardinals, even though they fought and came back again. And we'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day. It's a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches for just 24 hours. It's exclusive, 24 hours only. FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing up a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champion before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. This is your chance to shine. You can crown your champion in August. You can do it. I'm a Packers fan. I'm a Packers owner. So it's hard for me to bet against the green and gold. We've got some good things going on this year. I don't think a lot of people are picking them to win the whole thing. But, you got Jordan Love in year 3 of starting, although he's dealing with an injury already. Josh Jacobs was a great pickup last year for their backfield. He's a horse. New first-round wide receiver Matthew Golden is getting rave reviews. You got other wide receivers, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks. Can the D step up in year 2 of Jeff Hafley's system? We'll have to find out. But what about some of the other main guys like the Chiefs and the Eagles? Nothing wrong with those teams right now. The Bengals, who I've talked about, Bills, Rams fans, Matthew Stafford, how's his back? You going to be all right? Kind of a big deal. They went out and got former Packer Devontae Adams this year to replace Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua, their new number 1 guy. So, some interesting stuff going on in LA for the Rams fans that are still fans from the St. Louis years. But this is the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. It's every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB YouTube channel, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Miles Michaelis doesn't normally walk people, but on Sunday decided to throw another wrinkle into this mix of garbage that was this weekend for the St. Louis Cardinals. He walks 5 guys. Yeah. Although he kept most of them from scoring, he gave up 3 in the top half of the 4th, and it was a 1-out walk that got the ball rolling in that inning that started the rally for the Yankees. Goldie, who finally got to start, doubles, and then there was 3 straight singles, and just like that, 3-0 Yankees. Guess what? Cardinals having to play from behind again. So you had 3-0, 2-0, and 3-0. That sucks, man. But the Cardinals offense, I don't know, they don't shy away from the challenges. Roar back to take a 4-3 lead on a Joel Pozo home run, which was a really cool moment. If you haven't seen the story yet, go online to MLB.com or Cardinals.com and check out the write-up that Denton did. Really cool story because you know how it was Players Weekend and they all had the bats and stuff. Well, Joel Pozo's bat had the handprints on his bat of his son who had suffered a stroke right after being born. And then he also had the hands of other kids that he went to visit at Mercy Children's Hospital. So they were all their handprints were on the bat. Really cool story. They asked him to hit a home run, and he ends up doing it. And it's an awesome moment, to say the least. That would have been a great storybook ending. Problem was, it got wasted after a leadoff walk, albeit on some awful umpiring by Nick Lentz, who missed not 1 but 2 calls in this particular at bat. Enough to where it sent Ali over the edge, and he got ejected. Lentz was actually really good on the day. If you go to his umpire scorecard, he had a really good day. Just a horrible at bat to miss a couple calls. Those 2, they were strikes. They were in the zone, and this walk would cost the Cardinals because leadoff walks always do, it seems. Grisham comes around to score to tie the game up against Kyle Leahy. Then in the 9th inning, the Cardinals defense just falls apart behind JoJo Romero, who has 2 straight appearances where things do not go well. You get the 2 errors on Sajacy, although you could argue Bellinger's was a hit. I would have gave him a hit. I gave Sajacy an error on that one. But there's also a pass ball that inning. You had 2 walks, and Paul Goldschmidt double makes it 8-4. And that was it. Cardinals didn't do jack squat the rest of the game. I think after the Pozo thing, it was like 12 of 13 guys got retired. It was bad. Goldie in his return to Busch Stadium, 3 for 5 with 2 doubles and an RBI. That's not shocking. Former players own this team. I don't know if other teams deal with it, but it is hilarious when any sort of meaningful Cardinal comes back or the Cardinals have to play that, because they will beat the snot out of the Cardinals. You can write it in pen that it's going to happen. Congratulations to Nathan Church, who did get called up from AAA Memphis. Cool moment for him to get called up and, started 0 for 4, though, on the day. He took the place of Victor Scott, who got placed on the IL. The team, like as I said, they never did put Donnie or Contreras on the IL, so they just played shorthanded all weekend because they needed another challenge, I suppose. Why not have the pitchers throw with their opposite arms in this series against the Marlins? That'll be fun. Let's see if we can really, get things screwed up and goofy. Newt leaves the game with muscle cramping on Sunday. I get it. The heat is brutal, but that's all they need is for him to go down again. I said this on MLB Game Night last night. It feels like the Cardinals have a 4A team out on the field right now. They're better than a AAA team. Not quite good enough to be a major league worthy team either. And because of this, they've lost 5 in a row. Might as well start planning the golf trips for October, man. This is it. Nothing about this team makes me believe they're going to turn it around anymore, especially with the injuries that they're dealing with. They're 5.5 back in the wild card, and now I'm just hoping. And if there's something to look forward to, it is watching some of these younger guys hopefully gain more experience and turn it into something good for next year. Mason Wynn, Gorman, Walker, Sajaci, Burley, now Church, who was hitting very well at Memphis. Libby on the mound tonight. You want to see him be better than he has been. Hopefully the fatigue or whatever he's going through right now, hopefully it's better. It doesn't lead to something severe injury-wise. So got to be careful with him. He's on the mound tonight against the Marlins. Again, their young ace in the making, and Yuri Perez. He's very, very good. Maybe at some point later we see a J.J. Weatherholt who continues to destroy AAA pitching. Jimmy Crooks, would love to see him up. I don't need to see a whole lot of Pedro Paez anymore. It's fun seeing Joel Pozo come in and pinch hit and stuff, but, why not? I would like to see Jimmy Crooks get a shot. That would be cool. But just a really deflating weekend overall and deflating homestand overall, which started with such promise when you win 2 of 3 against the Cubs, and it ends with a thud, losing 2 in a row to the Rockies, 3 in a row to the Yankees, and you have a 3-6 homestand. Like, it needed to be flipped for them to continue to be a part of the wild card conversation. As of right now, in my opinion, they're not. They're not. They got to show me, they got to pull something out of their butts to make me talk about that stuff again, because as of right now, I don't want to. I don't want to. They don't deserve to. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals, though, your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals, of course, on YouTube. Make sure you head on over to the channel. If you're listening to the podcast version, head on over to YouTube, check it out, and, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'd appreciate it. It helps our love for the St. Louis Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.